Welcome back to LEGO Wars and Heat J of Series 5. Last time out we saw red and blue machines, Petunia and Slamo hold off the verts to make the post-heat bracket. This week I'm going on a holiday as the external robots are taking over the arena, so see you next week. What do you mean you still need an announcer? Probably I have been legally advised I'm not allowed to go on holiday this week, so under zero duress, let's see the machines fighting tonight.
First, from the Isle of Wight, Megalodon.
After shattering their drum at every opportunity last series, Megalodon comes in with a major makeover and looks a far more threatening machine.
From Seattle, Kelsey Hammer.
Kelsey has fought in LEGO Wars before in our Rookies Cup last year, but they make their main series debut tonight with their trusty
David Hydefierce.
From Southwold, Beta Steele.
The very sturdy egg beater from the UK live scene makes their LEGO Wars debut tonight and could be a real threat for the bracket.
From Aberdeen, Serrulatis.
The creative Robot Carnage on YouTube makes their LEGO Robot debut with this blast from the past grabber, but I do wonder about the build strength in the arena.
From Glasgow, Hospitaller.
The veterans in our field tonight come into Series 5 with a chip on their shoulders after not making the bracket last time, but their reduced speed this year could hamper their charge. With a more unusual field than normal set, let's crack on with Fight 1 tonight as Megalodon takes on Kelsey Hammer.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Just in time for the start of the weekend, it is Heat J and we are, well, going all external today. All the robots here are not built by channel host David Smeg, they are external builds to LEGO Wars, and immediately Megalodon gets cracking off and underway, shattering David Hydefierce. Of course, the mini bot that I got wrong in Lemmings. Shout out to the Lemmings. We'll never see them again. Thank God for that. Kelsey Hammer, the main robot, though, is trying their best to swing the axe mech in there and try and get that weapon of Megalodon stopped. Megalodon, of course, built by World of Woodrow. Kelsey Hammer, built by Tom, who runs Block Party Robot League. Kelsey Hammer in there with Megalodon, trying to get that hammer stuck in. Pit burn activated by Kelsey Hammer. In comes the drum again of Megalodon, but pushed back by Kelsey Hammer. Great drive from Kelsey Hammer. Has pushed Megalodon to the edge of the pit, down the pit. David Hydefierce joins them, but it's okay because Kelsey Hammer is our winner. Good win for them. Well, the experienced LEGO Wars robot Megalodon started off pretty well, shattering David Hydefierce's head and, of course, ripping off the sides of Kelsey Hammer as well. But in the end, Kelsey Hammer's drivetrain proved too good to be true. They opened up the pit, they turned Megalodon round, and the robot that made the bracket in the last series ended up down the pit of oblivion. Good start to the heat from Kelsey Hammer.
A slightly clumsy win for Kelsey to start the night, as we'll move on to our next battle in an all-tartan brawl between Hospitaller and Serrulatis.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Fight number 2 is off and underway. Serrulatis gets out of the blocks quicker than Hospitaller. Serrulatis built by Olitar from YouTube, and Hospitaller built by LEGO Wars veteran Oliver Stapley. Has previously made the bracket. Hospitaller back in Series 3, didn't make it last time. Missed out just about on a playoff spot. They'll be hoping to do a little bit better this time around. Of course, Serrulatis, a complete first build from Olitar in terms of LEGO robots. We'll have to see how they get on in this heat. Taking on the experienced Hospitaller. Been around for a couple of series now. Serrulatis, named after a scorpion, hence the kind of grabbing tail sort of design. Hospitaller, though, give a good lift in underneath, and up on its side goes Serrulatis. And Serrulatis turned upside down. Can they right themselves from there? I don't think they can. Hospitaller, as efficiently as you like, has proven all of those improvements over the off-season have been worthwhile. Serrulatis stuck on their back. Hospitaller spinning for delight. And it is an easy win for the experienced robot. The rookies will go back to the drawing board. Hospitaller off the mark with 3 points. Good win for them. Well, the turning issues that previously plagued Hospitaller seem to be a thing of the past with this new shorter wheelbase version, and I have to say the improved weaponry as well looks very, very good. give them, a bit of credit. Serrulatis got in the action and did try and cause a fight of it, but in the end there was only going to be one winner. Hospitaller in underneath, turning the rookies upside down, over and out, and on their back. Work to do for Serrulatis.
The lifter seems to be finally working on Hosp as they start this series strongly. Megalodon now has a chance to make amends with their earlier blunder as they take on Beta Steele.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Away we go then for fight number 3, and our last robot making their bow in the external heat is Beta Steele, named after the lead singer of band Typo Negative, Peter Steele. The reason why it's called Beta Steele, it has, I believe, David has written down in the notes here, the very first egg beta weapon in LEGO Wars history, and that apparently Switchback doesn't count because it's also a lifter. So, hey, look, take it up with David if you have any issues. I'm just the commentator. I don't make the notes. Megalodon, meanwhile, after that kind of tricky first fight with Kelsey Hammer, will be hoping to get back on the saddle and try and win this fight because they have got no points to their name currently. They went down the pit. They were knocked out. Therefore, they are currently joint bottom of the table along with Serrulatis. Beta Steele trying to get that weapon into play on the Shark, who has already lost one of the wedgelets at the front, and also I think part of their weapon setup doesn't look off balance just yet. Still looks like it's turning fairly happily and not juddering around. Beta Steele as well, also running very nicely as well. More parts coming off. I think Megalodon, given the colour of the pieces flying off the robot. And thus far, I'd say doing pretty well, Beta Steele, although spinning the weapon the wrong way into Megalodon won't help them. Now spinning the right way. Goes weapon to weapon once again. The encounters have been going pretty well so far, I would say, for Beta Steele. Although it is very, very tense and evenly matched between these two. Look at this, good consistent action between the two. Megalodon will be hoping to continue their form they showed last series and revive their hopes of winning this heat. They could still do it, no problem. They just need to win all their fights. That easy. That easy, folks. And I wonder if they're going to be able to do it here, although they are weaponless currently. The weapon has stopped, and Megalodon will be thinking, well, they've gone for the pit, so they're probably thinking, let's try and push Beta Steele down the pit. We've got the drive power advantage. Let's try and get rid of them as soon as possible. And Beta Steele here are spinning their wheels, but they're being edged back towards the pit by Megalodon. The Shark swirling round its prey. Beta Steele has one wheel over the pit. Can it get away from the lip of the pit? They are right on the rickety edge, but they get away. Good driving there from Beta Steele, but pushed back again by Megalodon. Beta Steele up to speed again. That weapon is still working. Megalodon thinking about spinning up and does so now. We can see, look, it is definitely off balance now. It's shaking and shuddering the entire robot. But meanwhile, Beta Steele have more pressing issues. They've backed up into that corner. The wheel has gone back over the pit. They can't drive away. They're being counted out. Megalodon seizes victory, and they're spinning on the spot. They know they've done enough. Beta Steele on the very lip of the pit. Are they going to go down? They're not going to go down, but they are counted out, and it is a 3-point knockout win for Megalodon. Well, I have to say, I thought the fight was going pretty well for Beta Steele for the majority of the match, because Megalodon's weapon wasn't really causing the damage we're used to, and also was the one falling apart when the two weapons went and met each other in the arena. Megalodon, I think, throughout had the superior drive power. That was kind of evident from the get-go, but Beta Steele's weapon was very good at kind of taking chunks out of Megalodon's weapon. As we saw, the drive superiority of Megalodon was key. They forced Beta Steele into an error, and Beta Steele got stuck over the pit.
Beta Steele decides to mill away some of my precious pit as the Sharky Machine gets some points on the board. Let's see if Serrulatis can join those 3-pointers as they face Kelsey.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
The rookie Serrulatis will be hoping then to do a little bit better than their first fight here. Kelsey Hammer, of course, off to the perfect start, pitting Megalodon, of course. Not a senior machine, Megalodon, but probably the Heat's equivalent, because they are most experienced in LEGO Wars. Kelsey Hammer's weapon has an extra little, sort of elasticity to it. Do you see it? Kind of when it fires over, it kind of thwacks as well. It's great to see. Serrulatis trying to grab hold of Kelsey Hammer, doesn't been able to get a good grip of either that or David Hyde Fierce to begin this fight, and part of the David Hyde Fierce armor. Well, it's a good push there from Serrulatis, pushing Kelsey Hammer back towards the pit button and activating it. Good control there from Serrulatis, the complete novice. And they're getting a good grip here with David Hyde Fierce. So David Hyde Fierce is in underneath Serrulatis, and down comes the Kelsey Hammer. should I just call it the Kelsey Hammer? I don't know. Answers on a postcard, please. Down comes the hammer of Kelsey Hammer once again. Serrulatis pecking away at David Hyde-Fierce. David Hyde-Fierce pushed back. Doesn't get it. David Hyde-Fierce, I'm reliably told, is the first ever Lego Minibot. And as such, Crabantine spawned from it, as did Hangry and many others. Since then, they are the OG. It's also, I'm told, Kelsey Hammer, the smallest robot in the series. Now you know. Good push there from David Hyde-Fierce, though, right in underneath. Serrulatis pinning it against the arena wall by the screws as well. Good control here from David Hyde-Fierce, and Kelsey Hammer takes advantage as well. Down comes its weapon on top of Serrulatis. Serrulatis gets a good grapple though, and tries to push David Hyde-Fierce down the pit. Doesn't get it, gets away. Good driving there from David Hyde-Fierce. Tries to get underneath once again, doesn't get it there either. David Hyde-Fierce on the spikes briefly, gets away. Serrulatis forced back against the arena wall, doing pretty well so far though. Pushing back. Kelsey Hammer, great driving here by Serrulatis. Can they get Kelsey Hammer down the pit? No. That would have been a famous victory for the rookies, but doesn't quite manage it. Kelsey Hammer trying to navigate their way around the pit, whilst David Hyde-Fierce tussles with Serrulatis. Serrulatis got their claws stuck in the pit. What an error from the rookies, and they're being forced towards the pit. What a shame, because it was looking so good for them. But in the end, Kelsey Hammer pushes them down, and David Hyde-Fierce pushes Kelsey Hammer down. Brilliant stuff. A classic LEGO Wars control fight between two very, very fun robots, I have to say, in the arena. Serrulatis pushing Kelsey Hammer back around the arena. Did very well, actually, the novices, taking on an experienced veteran of LEGO robot combat. David Hyde-Fierce bore the brunt of the Serrulatis grabber many a time. The Serrulatis entire robot took a lot of beating from the Kelsey Hammer. In trying to get David Hyde-Fierce down the pit, the rookies made an error and were then pitted.
A battling performance from the first time build, but hooking the pit did the damage to move Kelsey into the first outright. Beta Steele meanwhile has a chance to get back into contention as they take on Hospitale.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
So this fight marks the halfway stage in the heat. Both of these robots will be on their second fight of the night, and of course that means every robot will have fought twice. Beta Steele will be hoping for a better result than they got against Megalodon. Hospitale will just be hoping for more of the same, I think, considering how they did against the rookies in Serrulatis. Good lift there from Hospitale. Doesn't quite get it upside down though. Weren't able to get the purchase required to turn over Beta Steele. Beta Steele, we know from their first fight, don't have the greatest pushing power in the world, and we know that Hospitale has plenty of that. Good push there from Hospitale into the corner of the arena. And a good lift as well, I think, from the lifter of Hospitale upside down, and on its side goes Beta Steele. Now, can they get away from there without any assistance? Hospitale gives them a nudge and they fall back on their top, but upside down goes Beta Steele. But the good thing about Beta Steele is it can run their weapon both ways, so it can go backward and forward, as they've now realised. There it goes, showcasing that beautifully as I said it. Hospitale, meanwhile, whilst I was talking about that, hit the pit button, down that went. Hospitale, I think, will be trying to push their opponent down there because I think they've got the superior drive power in this fight. They'll be hoping to add another 3 points to their total and try and get their way back into the bracket like they did a couple of series ago. Good driving here from Hospitale, dragging Beta Steele into the centre of the arena. Beta Steele now up to speed and a good impact there. Some damage, I think, caused to Hospitale, although maybe it was just a bit, a bit of shock going through the weapon system. Something kind of came loose. I don't know what it was. Of course, the little mascot still intact, so we know that Hospitale are safe for now. If he goes missing, then we're all in trouble. Hospitale retreats to the arena centre. Beta Steele back up to speed. Beta Steele happy to kind of sit off and let Hospitale come to them, but a good push from Hospitale. Oh, and almost down the pit went Beta Steele. Goodness me. That could have been very, very spicy, I think, for Beta Steele had they had no points after 2 fights, and Hospitale will be on 6, but they got away with murder there. Good pushback by Beta Steele now. Trying to get back up to speed. Hospitale sits in the arena centre. Very, very sturdy and very, very resolute thus far. Hospitale looking very good. I'd say probably the most impressive robot of the heat after 5 fights. And trying to push Beta Steele back into that corner, trying to tip them against the arena wall like that. They couldn't possibly get them out of the arena from here, could they? It's not far off, is it? And a good lift there from Hospitale turns Beta Steele upside down for a second time. Beta Steele retreat to the other side of the arena. Weapon is up to speed. Can they get the weapon into contact? No, because Hospitaller is already there and putting them under serious pressure. We are quite a distance into the fight, and there it is. There's the timer, as if, like magic, it appears Hospitaller has been the dominant force in this one for me. Beta Steele have lacked a little bit of firepower.
6.
As we go to time, our judges will decide who is the winner between Hospitaller and Beta Steele. On reflection then, it was a pretty decent performance, wasn't it, from Hospitaller? Beta Steele never really getting involved in the fight and causing major issues for Hospitaller. Hospitaller using their weapon beautifully throughout, turning their opponent over and over and over again. Almost got them down the pit. I don't know how it would have survived there, but managed to somehow. Beta Steele got caught in the arena gap as well, didn't have the right angle, Hospitaller, to get them flicked over and out, but they were the dominant force throughout. Surely this is just a formality.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Hospitaller. We finally get a JD tonight as Hospitaller picks up 2 more points to move second at the halfway point. Down at the bottom of the table, though, Serrulatis could really do with some points on the board, but with that fixed drum looking much more fierce on Megalodon, it could get real messy in the arena.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Serrulatis taking on Megalodon then for the first fight of fixture 3, I guess, I suppose you could say, of the heat. Both of these two going on to their third fight. Serrulatis, their grabbing arm, has proven somewhat effective throughout this heat, but have kind of lacked the potency to do anything major with it, and maybe the grip to do anything major with it. They're not able to kind of get a good grapple hold of something. Megalodon, we've seen flashes of brilliance, not being at its best. We know it can do. And they'll be hoping to try and turn that around in this fight against Serrulatis. And off comes one of those good grabbing claws at the front. The static, of course, but they're able to kind of get a pincer hold of their opponent like that and get around the back of Megalodon. That would be more effective use of those weapons at the front, the claws. Serrulatis pushing back on Megalodon. Because Megalodon didn't make it to the bracket last series. No slouches. And ended up getting destroyed by Orby Blade. If you remember back, the drum getting ripped out of the robot. They'll be hoping that similar issues do not befall it this time around. Serrulatis just trying to get a point on the board. Thus far, pointless in this heat. Serrulatis goes for the pit button. They've got the confidence that they can chuck Megalodon down, and thus far, they've proven to be a fairly reasonable match for their opponents, and they push Megalodon back against the arena wall here. Oh, but there goes the entire front end as I say that. And Serrulatis, they're trying to get them turned round, but I think they could be in a spot of bother here because the entire front end has been destroyed by Megalodon, and more bits and pieces come flying off their opponents. Megalodon, they are in the ascendancy now, and they know there is another 3 points to be claimed here in this fight, and Serrulatis have got a couple of minutes to survive now, or maybe just over a minute. I'm not quite sure how long is left on the timer, but they're doing all right at the moment. They're going to try and stay in the fight and claim a point here, because as things stand, I mean, there's only going to be one winner surely here. Megalodon in the ascendancy, and more damage and carnage happening in the arena. Serrulatis' weapon hangs limp. The wheels on that one side look have kind of been disintegrated, and there it goes again. Oh dear, well the drive wheel is now on the wrong side of the robot, lads, so as you were, I think. Yeah, Serrulatis is in real problems here. I can't really say what I want to say because I think David would censor it, so yeah, Megalodon have done a lot of damage and I think have got the fight pretty much sewn up unless they have an almighty bottle here. Megalodon's going to be claiming 3 points, and Serrulatis is going to be going back to the workshop and thinking, what on earth do we do here? Because Serrulatis is getting absolutely disintegrated, and there goes the other wheel. There is no way back into the arena now. There's no way back into the fight. Serrulatis destroyed. Megalodon picking up all 3 points, and they will be delighted with that. 6 points on the board after 3 fights is not bad going. Serrulatis continues their path with no points on the board. What a shame for them. Well, it did end rather dramatically for the rookies, but for a while they were holding their own very well against Megalodon. They, yes, took damage at the front, the claws came off at the front end, and you saw there that impact kind of dislodged the entire front plate, if you like, of Serrulatis, but they were able to get Megalodon scared a few times until, well, I mean, things went badly wrong for the rookies. They got absolutely obliterated in the end. Nothing left of the robot, no drive. domination in the end for Megalodon.
With bits of the grabber in a crumpled heap, Serrulatis is now out of contention with a big repair job to boot, while Megalodon is looking pretty strong for making the bracket outright this year. Next up, it's first and third in the table, Kelsey and Hosp fighting for potentially the second bracket spot.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Away we go then. Kelsey Hammer and Hospitaller thus far, I'd say probably the two most impressive robots in the heat. Both of them of which have 2 wins on the board as things stand. Winner of this goes top outright. Hospitaller, I'd say thus far probably marginally the more impressive. David Hyde-Fierce caught on the lifter of Hospitaller and lifted onto their back, and they're stuck like a turtle upside down in the desert. They're in big trouble now because Hospitaller, it's up and over completely now, and it's trying to free shipping its way back into the fight. I don't think you're going to manage that one, David Hyde-Fierce. Kelsey Hammer, meanwhile, will be left to fight on alone as they take on Hospitaller, who have been, as I said, pretty much the most impressive robot in the heat thus far, in my opinion. Down comes the Kelsey Hammer once again. I love the little swish motion it's got, the little kind of extra thwack that it's got to bring the hammer down with some more force. Kelsey Hammer forced into the other corner of the arena by Hospitaller. In underneath goes Hospitaller again. Good lift there on Kelsey Hammer. On its side. Gets back down now, somehow surviving that one. Kelsey Hammer trying their best to knock David Hyde-Fierce back onto its wheels. Isn't going to be able to do it on this occasion. Pushes it into the wedge of Hospitaller. Hospitaller will be wise not to lift the mini-bot up and back onto its wheels of Kelsey Hammer. Kelsey Hammer brings the weapon down, not to any major effect. The helmet of the driver of Hospitaller has come off, or the mascot I should say, not the driver. The driver, he's not wearing a helmet. I don't know, I can't see them, I can only see their legs. Hospitaller pushing Kelsey Hammer back into the screws now. Good control from Hospitaller, as has been the case for most of the evening, to be honest with you. It's been exemplary performance by them. And now Kelsey Hammer stuck in the lifting arms, like kind of more, if you like. Manages to get away there though. Kelsey Hammer brings the hammer down once and twice and 3 times, and maybe a 4th on Hospitaller. Hospitaller pushing back on Kelsey Hammer. Kelsey Hammer gets the hammer in between the wheels. It's a good scrap between these two. Good control from both of them thus far. Kelsey Hammer brings the weapon down onto the lifting panel again of Hospitaller. Hospitaller retreats to the centre of the arena. Kelsey, look at the size comparison, by the way. Look at this. Hospitaller looks enormous compared to tiny little Kelsey Hammer, doesn't it? Kelsey Hammer bringing the weapon down once again. They've remained aggressive throughout, but Hospitaller, in my opinion, the more control of the two. Up and over goes Kelsey Hammer. Can Kelsey Hammer right itself from that position? I don't know if it can. Kelsey Hammer are going to be saved by the clock, though, because they're not going to have time to be counted out here. They are stuck against the pit button. They're stuck up and over, but it's not going to matter. We are going to go to time between Hospitaller and Kelsey Hammer, but that is a very, very interesting lasting image for the judges. I haven't said this enough tonight, but the quality of fights have been superb this evening. Hospitaller using their weapon brilliantly early on to eliminate the threat of the mini-bot David Hyde-Fierce, therefore basically stunting a lot of what Kelsey Hammer could do. Almost got them over there, couldn't quite manage it. Kelsey Hammer got away. They tried to right their mini-bot a few times but weren't able to. Kelsey Hammer were limited by the fact that they didn't have their partner helping them, and a lasting image at the end, them turned over, unable to self-right.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Hospitaller. Much like Quantum a fortnight ago, Hospitaller doesn't quite get the KO in time, but they do move joint top with Kelsey going into the latter stages of the night. Steele, meanwhile, are on the brink of crashing out and need a KO in their next fight against the rebuilt Serrulatis.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Steele onto their third fight of the night, Serrulatis. The last time we'll see them this evening is in this match. Both of these two currently yet to get a win on the board. Steele have got 1 point on the board. Serrulatis, after 3 matches, have got nothing, which is a real shame for the rookies. They'll be hoping to try and get some kind of reward to show for their hard work of getting a robot into LEGO Wars and functioning and performing okay. I don't think it's been that bad, to be honest with you. It's just been unlucky in the way that it's lost the fight. So Steele will be hoping to get their campaign off and underway. They need to win both of their 2 remaining fights I think basically by knockout, and that's a great way to start doing that, because the wheel of Serrulatis has been dislodged again, like it was against Megalodon, and they are struggling to manoeuvre and translate across the arena once again, and Beta Steele here looking very, very good for a knockout victory like that, and there goes the rear end completely of Serrulatis, completely destroyed now. They have got all kinds of issues in the arena, the rookies. I don't think they're going to be getting any points today. It's a real shame to say, but we might have our first pointless robot of the series, although Serrulatis have got their claws stuck in the beta of Beta Steele. And can they take them with them? Serrulatis is over the pit. They can't get away from there. Serrulatis has got their claw really jammed in, though. Look, right behind the weapon bar of Beta Steele. Beta Steele can't push Serrulatis down the pit, even with one wheel dangling in the pit. Look at that. It's like a fish on a hook. Can't get it away, though. Serrulatis can't get their claw away from the egg beta of Beta Steele. They're both locked together. Beta Steele, can they get away from there? They are both being counted out here, which I think will mean somehow we'll go to a judge's decision between Beta Steele and Serrulatis, and Serrulatis will get a point on the board. I don't think it's going to be 2, because I think Beta Steele has done more than enough, but we're going to go to a judge's decision between these two. Well, Serrulatis came out once again with intent and purpose, didn't they, against Beta Steele. Beta Steele using their weapon to great effectiveness, being able to pop Serrulatis into the air and eventually pop the entire drive side off of Serrulatis. I mean, that was also pretty brutal as well. The rear end of Serrulatis completely destroyed. But this is the key moment of the fight. Serrulatis getting their claw jammed into the weapon of Beta Steele, and from then on in, it was a deadly embrace that never ended.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Beta Steele. Just so everybody else knows, we had to dismantle Serrulatis' grabber to finally get those two unstuck. The JD points, however, do eliminate Beta Steele from contention, so their remaining goal for the night is to play spoiler for our current first place Kelsey. Hi everybody, Editor David here. So for the first time since Series 2, we've actually lost footage before the fight made it to YouTube. It was fine when we did the trailer, but it's gone since then. It's completely beansed itself, which is lovely. From what I recall, though, from the fight, Beta did do some early damage, but David Hyde Fierce was able to control it around the arena and stop the egg beta, so it went to the judges, and it was a JD for Kelsey, but, yeah, sorry about that. Lost footage. Back to the normal content. After some of the footage of all time, we're left with two machines fighting to avoid the play-ins. Megalodon will be determined to avoid a second straight year of the play-ins, while Hosp can take an overall heat win tonight if they beat the drum spinners. Let's find out how they'll finish.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
And that, folks, is why you always back up your files. But enough about that, we have got a final fight of the night to decide who wins the heat. If Megalodon wins it, Kelsey Hammer, regardless of how Megalodon wins it, it's the heat winner. If Hospitaler wins it, by any means, they win the heat. It is that simple, ladies and gentlemen. And thus far, on the evidence of this, Hospitaler, unbeaten so far this heat, are continuing in that vein of form. They've been superb tonight, and I don't doubt that they will be the favourites going into this match. Although Megalodon have had 2 knockouts back-to-back, they'll be hoping that they can get a third in a row and try and show what they can do as we head towards the bracket at the end of the series, which isn't that far away now. They're on a good little run of form. They've won 2 fights back-to-back. They'll be hoping to get 3 on the bounce, and that'll be an impressive scalp to get Hospitaler beaten, because Hospitaler have been superb tonight with that drive power and weapon combination. Megalodon is stuck in the corner. We know what happens when they get stuck in the corner. The opponents normally get lifted up by Hospitaler like this. Great strength in the lifter. Can they get Megalodon turned over? Not from there, they can't. The weapon stalling, currently not able to turn Megalodon upside down, and the weapon is now slowly being retracted but being flapping in the wind there as it comes into contact with the weapon of Megalodon. And again, good impact there from the Megalodon weapon. Hospitaler brings his weapon down. What can it do though? Can it get Megalodon upside down? It'd be a great moment if they could, but so far Megalodon have been proving a more tricky robot to kind of turn over and a more tricky robot to control than the rest of this heat thus far, which is surprising considering how easily Megalodon were pitted in the first fight. And the turns have been tabled here on Hospitaler because they've been pushed towards the pit. 2 wheels over the pit. Megalodon have a great chance here to get a third knockout in a row, as I said. 9 points on the board would be very impressive, and Hospitaler is down. Megalodon have won the fight, which means Kelsey Hammer is the heat winner. Well, it was Hospitaller, as we know and love it at the start of the fight, wasn't it? They were able to get in underneath and lever up Megalodon on a couple of occasions, weren't able to get them completely turned over, but they were the ones in the ascendancy pushing Megalodon back over and over again. You can see he's not able to quite get them flipped over. Megalodon had their moment. This one here was very funny when they were able to get the lifter flapping in the wind, but Hospitaller pushed backwards into the pit. What an upset! And Megalodon with 3 points.
And so it's Megalodon turning the tables on Hospitaller to make the bracket. It's been an interesting night in the arena as I've had the privilege to take a back seat and enjoy the creations our fellow builders from around the country have to show. That's all from us this week, but join us next time when it's back to business for the final few heats as our 8th seed Switchback returns to the arena. For now though, I've been your host David of Smeg, and we'll see you in the next one.
David Hidefierce.